the last action taken by the crew aboard the space vehicle. Now approaching the half-minute mark. T-minus 33, T-minus 30 seconds, and continuing on now. Continuing on at the T-minus 26-second mark, T-minus 25. We'll get a final guidance release at the T-minus 17-second mark. T-minus 17, final guidance release. We'll expect engine ignition at 8.9 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, ignition sequence started. All engines are started. We have ignition, 2, 1, 0. We have a liftoff. We have a liftoff, and it's lighting up the area. It's just like daylight here at Kennedy Space Center as the Saturn V is moving off the pad. It has now cleared the tower.
Roger, tower, yaw is complete. We're in a row, Bob.
Roger, Gino, looking great. Thrust good on all 5 engines.
Okay, babe, it's looking good here. Roll is complete. We are pitching.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're T-minus 2 hours, 47 minutes and counting. The astronaut van just pulled up alongside the mobile launcher at Pad A, Launch Complex 39. The crew departed the van and entered an elevator which goes up the side of the mobile launch structure. They'll go into the A level of the structure there, where they'll go into the tower elevator. These are high-speed elevators which are also used for the astronaut emergency egress. And they'll take their ride up to the 320-foot level. At the 320-foot level, they go across the access arm, swing arm number 9, to the white room where they'll enter the spacecraft. The mobile launcher stands some 446 feet tall. That's 135.9 meters. The Saturn V rocket, which sits on the mobile launch platform, sits over a 45-foot square exhaust opening right over the Saturn, or right under the Saturn V engines. So at liftoff, the flames go down through that opening, and spectators see the flames coming out either side underneath the mobile launch platform. The crew now has entered the high-speed elevator on their way up to the 320-foot level. Once they get to that level, the crew commander, Eugene Cernan, will come across the swing arm, followed by the command module pilot, Ron Evans. The lunar module pilot will remain back at the elevator. The lunar module pilot will be coming across following Cernan, and the command module pilot remains back at the elevator. Cernan will be the first one to enter. He'll move into the center seat, then move over to the left-hand seat. The lunar module pilot moves in to the center seat, over to the right-hand seat, and then the command module pilot comes across, entering the center seat. The men still in the elevator at this time. We're standing by to see them coming across the swing arm. T-minus 2 hours, 45 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 2 hours, 42 minutes and counting. Astronaut Eugene Cernan and Jack Schmidt have now entered the White Room, and Cernan is being assisted into his couch in the command module, which they have named America. Astronaut Schmidt shook hands all around with the closeout crew in the White Room, as did Cernan before he entered. Schmidt will now stand by in the White Room area. He will be the next to enter the spacecraft. Ron Evans, the command module pilot, standing by back at the elevator area. There's a seat back there for him. The White Room is a relatively small area around the spacecraft, and that's the reason why he stands back on the mobile launcher deck. He can take advantage of a fine view from there. In the past, some of the command module pilots have looked out over Kennedy Space Center. Tonight is a relatively clear night, and what he'll probably see if he looks out at this time will be the headlights from thousands of cars lined up around this area to watch their flight. Astronaut Eugene Cernan now aboard the Spacecraft America. Next to come aboard will be the lunar module pilot Jack Schmidt. T-minus 2 hours, 41 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, Skip. Yes, sir. Sure can, Skip. Stand by, just one. Okay, 1, 2, and 3 are vent. Okay, it's neutral and it's locked. Roll is rate command. Pitch Excel. Yaw right. Okay, SCS-TVC, pitch and yaw, both rate command. LEM CSM. You're welcome, Station Master. Okay, this is the LNP. How do you read? You're loud and clear, STC, and good evening. It's a privilege to be here.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 2 hours, 36 minutes and counting. Both the spacecraft commander, Eugene Cernan, and command module and lunar module pilot, Jack Schmidt, are aboard the spacecraft. The command module pilot, Ron Evans, has come across now from his position on the mobile launcher and is in the White Room, standing by to enter the spacecraft. As they came aboard, both the spacecraft commander and the lunar module pilot made communications checks. They seem to be in good spirits. As Jack Schmidt came aboard, the spacecraft test conductor, Skip Chauvin, said, "Welcome aboard," and Jack replied, "It's good to be here." We logged Eugene Cernan going across the sill at 7:09 this evening, and Jack Schmidt going across at 7:14. Ron Evans is standing by in the White Room now. We expect him to be going across the sill momentarily. Now, T-minus 2 hours, 35 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, that's AC1. Okay, you interrupt, but the glycol pump is AC1. That's firm. That's verified left. That's normal. That's verified center. Verified auto. That's centered. All right, that's B. That's affirmative. It's in Bravo. That's firm. It's Omni. Beacon is off. SCE is normal. Okay, they're centered. My pleasure.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 2 hours, 32 minutes and counting. All three crewmen now aboard the spacecraft which they have named America. The procedure as the crewmen enter is to remove boot protective covers, which they've been wearing until they get to the spacecraft. They then move into the couch where they hook up the various systems. These systems include their intercommunications and their communications, also the oxygen. Up to that time, they have been on what are called portable oxygen ventilators. This is a portable oxygen supply, supplying them and supplying their suit. As they enter the spacecraft, then they disconnect that and connect to the spacecraft system. The crew commander reported that he is snugly in his couch at this time. The medical data coming back on all 3 men appears to be good. The closeout crew remains in the White Room area. They'll stay up there for approximately 1 hour at this time, assisting the crew, finally bringing the hatch closed on the command module and going through what is called a purge and leak check of the spacecraft. The countdown continuing to move along well, T-minus 2 hours, 31 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
I need some soup flow, bro. That's better, thank you. Can you strike that from the recording? DC, CDR, when you get a minute, you might tell us what the sky looks like tonight. Okay, thank you. Gordo, stoop down a little bit, will you? Can you get down a little bit? You're blocking it all. Yeah, that's not too bright if you guys can see down there. Okay, Gordo, LAB lighting is go. CMP, go. Verify, propellant is dump auto. Verify constant warning acknowledge. Mission timer is ticking. Suit circuit auto cum switch going to 1. Alright, your suit compressor delta P is about 0.85. Houston, this is a CMP. Were you calling CMP or LMP? Okay, you're loud and clear.
CMP, this is Houston. How do you read on S-band? That's for the CMP.
Okay, CMP, just a little weak. Will you crank it up a little bit, Gordo? I think it's S-band. S-band.
Right, I'm broadcasting on S-band, Ron, right now. And how do you read me?
Okay, Houston, this CMP. Can you give me one more count?
Roger, Ron. I'll give you a count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is an S-band count. How do you read?
CMP, that's loud and clear now.
Okay, Ron, we're reading you real great.
Robert, I'm reading you loud and clear, Simo. Looks good here, Bob. Gordy, you're with us. Thank you. That's normal?
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 2 hours, 17 minutes and counting. At this time, the tracking station has called in, indicating to the test supervisor, Bill Schick, here in the firing room, that the final alignment has been made of the tracking antenna. Also reporting in was Beach Boss, the recovery forces, indicating that recovery forces are on station and that they have verified their communications. Communications checks were made with all 3 of the crewmen aboard the spacecraft. These have been completed and reported satisfactory on all channels. Underway at this time in the spacecraft are some final safety checks. During these checks, the pad leader and a suit technician check the helmet to make sure that this is on each crewman, make sure that the helmet is properly locked. They check the hookup for the oxygen, making sure, again, proper connections there, proper connections to the communications line. Also, the gloves in the spacesuit are separate from the suit itself, and the connection between the glove and the suit sleeve is checked. The doctor in the control room has verified that the biomedical data coming back from all crewmen is good. Our weather continues to be satisfactory for launch. The main front, which had given some concern earlier, has not moved much beyond the northwest portion of Florida and should not give us any problems at launch time. We are tracking very closely several small local storms in the area. The one closest to the pad right now appears to be moving in the opposite direction, moving away from the pad. The countdown continues to move smoothly, T-minus 2 hours, 16 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Go ahead. That's being pressed and held. It's released. That's verified. Gearbox is unlatched, and the handle is U. That's BPC jet now. Okay, that's verified. Clear, standby one. And the cabin is dumb. Go. EDS 1, 2, and 3 are verified closed. That's affirmative. Market, EDS power's on up. Okay, EDS auto is on up. Okay. Board light in the cockpit. We still have a board light in the cockpit. Board light is out in the cockpit. CDR has a board light. Board light still on. CDR board light on. CDR board light on. CDR board light out. CDR board light on. CDR board light out. That's off. Okay, Skip, LMP got a question for you. I'm sure it's normal, and somebody may have told me about it. H2 tank 3, reading about 92%. Okay, I guess I'm looking more careful now. More carefully, pardon my God. Oh, that's right. Okay, that's a full tank though, and it's a sensor bias. Very good. Okay, fine. Okay, S-band, intercom, and VHF are all going off. SATCOM's off. CMP go. Up telemetry, IU is going to accept.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 2 hours, 2 minutes, and counting. The spacecraft count beginning to run just a little bit ahead of schedule now, as the launch vehicle count did earlier in the day. The hatch came closed at 7:37, somewhat ahead of schedule. Inside the spacecraft just completed were some abort advisory checks. During these checks, Spacecraft Commander Eugene Cernan works with the Launch Operations Manager, Paul Donnelly, here in the Control Center, and also the Manned Spacecraft Center in Houston. Paul Donnelly, here in the Control Center, has the option of sending an abort advisory to the spacecraft during the checkout phase here in the final portion of the countdown. Once the space vehicle has cleared the tower, then that option goes to Houston. During these checks, a signal is sent to the spacecraft, turning on the abort advisory light, and also a verbal signal is sent. These checks went as scheduled, now are completed satisfactorily. Outside of the spacecraft, the closeout crew are now running their cabin purge and leak checks. During this time, a 65% nitrogen and 35% hydrogen mixture is fed into the oxygen mixture is fed into the spacecraft, purging out the air that's in there. The air is purged out through the cabin relief valve. This is then analyzed, and after the proper 65-35 mixture is reached, the spacecraft is pressurized to just above sea level. This pressurization is then monitored for approximately 10 minutes to ensure that there is no decay. The closeout crew consists of 6 people, a pad leader, 2 suit technicians, the astronaut member of the team who just before the hatch was closed came out of the spacecraft, a command module technician, and a quality control man. These men standing by in the white room area now. After the cabin purge and leak checks, they'll begin to secure the white room area, that is taking down the panels that connect the white room to the spacecraft. After they've completed that, they'll clear the area and get well clear for at time of launch. Now T-minus 2 hours and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
That's right, Ohio 241.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're at T-minus 1 hour, 52 minutes and counting. At this time, the 65% nitrogen, 35% oxygen mixture is being brought aboard the spacecraft. The crew, of course, are breathing from the environmental control system, and they're breathing pure oxygen. The launch director is continuing to monitor the weather in the area. The major front is well to the west of the area. However, there are some smaller buildups locally, and we're continuing to monitor those quite closely. Checks are going on now of the emergency detection system aboard the space vehicle. This is a system which is designed to sense and react to any emergency situation resulting from a launch vehicle malfunction during the early portion of the flight. During most of the first stage flight, the EDS system provides the capability for automatically aborting the mission. The auto abort system is turned on at liftoff, and then it's disabled by the crew approximately 2 minutes into the flight. The system senses such things as the loss of thrust in 2 or more of the first stage engines or excessive rates in pitch or yaw. During this test, signals are sent which simulate these conditions, and lights go on in the cabin indicating to the astronaut crew there just what the emergency situation is. This test takes approximately 30 minutes. The test going well at this time, T-minus 1 hour, 51 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
No, sir, Skip. I just pulled out my weather map and been making sure you guys were telling me the truth. Yeah, I was hoping a little better than fair.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
well, that's all right. You want to leave us out, that's okay. No, he turns out he's not even connected to us right now.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're at T-minus 1 hour, 42 minutes and counting. The closeout crew finishing up the purge and leak checks now in the White Room area, and the 3 crewmen continuing to make their checkout inside the spacecraft. The command module, Spacecraft America, is 12.8 feet in diameter at the base. That's 3.9 meters, and stands 11.4 feet high, 3.5 meters. That, of course, is conical in shape. To give you some idea of what takes so long to check out that spacecraft, it includes some 24 instruments, 566 switches, 40 event indicators, and 71 different lights. Inside the spacecraft, there are approximately 73 cubic feet per man. This is the space, the volume offered each of the 3 crewmen. They are approximately 68 cubic feet per man in your average compact car, to give you some comparison there. This is more room, of course, than the Mercury or Gemini spacecraft had. They offered in Mercury 55 cubic feet per man, and in Gemini 40 cubic feet per man. Of course, once in 0G, the astronauts can actually use all of this area, unlike in your compact car where you would be pretty much stationary in your seat. The launch vehicle team loaded the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen this afternoon, and at this time they continue to replenish the supply of the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. These cryogenic fuels boil off somewhat in the tanks in the space vehicle. The liquid oxygen can be seen venting to the atmosphere. Liquid hydrogen, as it vents, is somewhat more volatile, and it is led off to a burn pond at the edge of the pond where it is controlled and burned in a controlled area. This actually can be seen burning at the edge of the pond. During daylight hours, however, the burning is so pure that it actually can't be observed. The countdown continues to run smoothly, T-minus 1 hour, 40 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
S-band are all TR. Pat John's TR. ADS power switch is off. ADS auto is off now. 2 engine hours verify auto, launch vehicle rates verify auto. Roger, bat Charlie is 37.3. Green A. Okay. Okay, stand by. Okay, Skip. Cabin fan's going off now.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're T-minus 1 hour, 32 minutes and counting. Countdown continues to move along smoothly as the crew aboard the Spacecraft America are now securing from the emergency detection system test. They're securing the switches and lights involved with that test. A check of the weather indicates that the major weather system will still be giving us a 6/10 cloud coverage at 15 to 20,000 feet. We'll be looking for temperatures of 75 degrees Fahrenheit at launch time and winds from the south about 10 knots. There is some local weather. It's being watched quite closely, some small cells in the area. However, it's not expected these will give us a problem at launch time. These clouds are running from 3,000 to 6,000 feet high. The closeout crew in the White Room area was just given a go-ahead to close what's called the boost protective cover hatch. This is an additional hatch which is part of the boost protective cover, which protects the spacecraft from heating as it surges up through the heavy Earth atmosphere, and it also protects the top of the spacecraft when the launch escape system is jettisoned. Now T-minus 1 hour, 31 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Telemetry IU switch is going to block. That is the firm. I am an Alpha. Go ahead, TC. Thank you, sir. That sounds like good news. Roger. 82%. And I'm reading 0. Okay, Skip. Looking good up here.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're T-minus 1 hour, 22 minutes and counting. Cabin purge has now been completed and the boost protective cover has been closed. The 65% nitrogen, 35% oxygen mixture will now be enriched to a 60-40 mixture at liftoff. Just completed were some pre-flight command tests with the Manned Spacecraft Center in Houston. These tests are to ensure that Houston can send commands and that they are being received by the launch vehicle. Also just completed was a first motion signal. This is the first motion of the vehicle as it lifts off the pad. A test signal was sent to the Eastern Test Range and to the Manned Spacecraft Center in Houston to assure that they will get this signal at liftoff. Also, we just received a final go for the Gymsphere release. The Gymsphere is a weather balloon, which is the final weather balloon to go up before launch, indicating the wind direction. C-band beacons are in check at this time. The C-band beacons aboard the launch vehicle are used in tracking. They give indications of range, velocity during the powered phase of flight. Q-ball sim command was just sent. The Q-ball is an angle of attack meter, which is perched above the launch escape system, and it's read by the spacecraft commander in the spacecraft. It would indicate any deviation from the planned flight route. It reads 0 as it sits on the pad, and during the test, a simulated command is sent to it, and Gene Cernan in the spacecraft reads off what he is reading in the spacecraft during that sim command. The checks in the spacecraft continue to run somewhat ahead of schedule. The spacecraft test conductor, Skip Chauvin, indicated they're running ahead and looking good, to which Cernan replied, "We're looking good up here too." The countdown continuing to move along well at this time. T-minus 1 hour, 21 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Roger, caution and warning is going to normal. That's verified. FDAI, GPI power select is off. Okay, GDC, ECA. Market 1 on. N2 on. Okay, mark it, it's both. Austin warning is going to acknowledge. Okay, selecting 1. At that. 162. Zero 90. Zero on the off. That didn't work. Okay, stable and the air with needles are null. One 168. 081. 355. Okay, roll is full right, pitch is full up, and yaw is full right. Ball 2. That's firm, and I'm roll full right, pitch full up, and yaw full right. Okay, and work. Okay, I'm looking at 168, 081, and 355 on total altitude, and air needles are null. 162. Zero 90. And 0 on the yaw. Okay. Full left, full down, and full left. Ball 1, and I'm reading full left, full down, and full left. That's in work. Okay, it's stabilized. Errors are null. I'm reading 162, 090, and 000. Roger, bus die is going on. A/C is on. B/C is on. Yes, TBC pitch in your rate command. AC1 main A. 2 AC2 main B. GPI. Disarmed. Okay. Pitch 1, mark it. Yaw 1, mark it. Okay, it's on wheel drivers go. Stand by. Okay, it's on wheels R0. Okay, MTVC is go. They're auto. Okay. Pitch 2, mark it. Yaw 2, mark it. Mark it clockwise. Front-wheel drive is go and set at 0. That's firm there, set at 0. Okay, MTVC is go. Fuel cell 3. Okay, secondary, pitch 2, mark it. And yaw 2.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're T-minus 1 hour, 12 minutes, and counting. At this time, Spacecraft Commander Gene Cernan and the Spacecraft Test Conductor, Skip Chauvin, are going over some command checks. During these checks, the Spacecraft Commander actually gimbals swings the main engine in the service module. He does this using his flight hand controller, and this is a system which is done so that if there is a problem with a computer, which normally flies these, he could take over and manually fly it. Normally, however, all burns of this engine are done by the computer. Out at the pad, the space vehicle is surrounded by searchlights, producing some 225 foot candles of light. A total of 72 20-kilowatt xenon lights and two 60-kilowatt xenon searchlight banks provide this illumination. At liftoff, approximately 7,500 foot candles will be produced from the flame of the Saturn V first-stage engines. This is almost equivalent to daylight. Searchlights will also illuminate the Apollo 17 for the first 60 feet of its flight. Our countdown continuing to go smoothly now as we approach the 1 hour mark. T-minus 1 hour, 11 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, 2 switches AC/DC. It's locked. Roger, A/C, off, auto, and B/C, off, and auto. Okay, it's main A, and next time you have a pause, I'd like to ask a question. Okay, 1 is off and 2 is off. That's 4B. 1/2. Source is CMC. Ball 1, total attitude is 162 on a roll, 090 and 0. Okay, with the bus ties on, I never saw more than 2 or 3 amps on battery A. Normally, in the spacecraft, we've seen about 10, and also in the simulators. Is that battery A been used a little more than usual? Okay, thank you very much. Gunner, thank you, and we'll see you when we get back. Okay, entry EMS roll is on up. Okay, we'll do. Okay, TC, the RSI tracks, so y'all somewhere set back to 0 and GDC line is released. Okay, it's off. Ball 1. That's set. IMU. Okay, it's in work. Okay, they're null. GDC. Okay, looks good here, Skip. Okay, source is the CMC. Okay, it's 1/2. Stand by. Okay, that's there. Okay, 7,000 minus 0.1. Okay, the EMS is set as desired. It's still a V. The caution and warning is going to boost. Yes, sir. Well, I worked out today, so I can probably hack it. Say when, Skip. You got it. Well, I've asked all the stupid...
Okay, go ahead. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're T-minus 1 hour and counting. T-minus 1 hour and counting. Just completed were the C-band beacon checks. These are checks of the beacon, 2 of them aboard the instrument unit of the space vehicle. These are used in conjunction with a C-band radar here at Kennedy Space Center to check the space vehicle during the powered phase of flight. Check was just made with the superintendent of range operations, who ran through the camera coverage, looking at the weather around the various areas to see what camera coverage, and that appears to be satisfactory. Meanwhile, at the pad, the closeout crew has completed securing the White Room area, and they are clearing the pad area themselves at this time. Just before they left, they indicated to Cernan They were completed their jobs going back away from the pad area. Cernan said, "We'll see you when we get back." The pad leader responded that the next face you see better be a frogman or you're in trouble. Weather appears to be satisfactory. We've been tracking some local buildups, but at this time they do not seem to be posing any problem for an on-time launch at 9:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now T-minus 59 minutes, 32 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Did you walk over the balcony, Gino? Did you walk to the balcony? Is that something? Well, I'll try. That was easy compared to last time. Sounds like a skip countdown. Yeah, we haven't done anything yet, but we sure hope to. We certainly can't say we skipped anything.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're at T-minus 55 minutes, 54 seconds and counting. Stony, astronaut Bob Parker, the capsule communicator here in the firing room, who has a variety of functions during this mission, one of which is to set the elevators at the 320-foot level. He actually commands the elevators, which are part of the egress system, emergency egress system for the astronauts. He has just reported that the elevators have now been set at the 320-foot level. In an emergency, the crew could come out of their spacecraft, enter these elevators, where they would be lowered at a high speed, 600 feet per minute, to the ground floor or A-level floor, where they can exit from there into a variety of escape modes, one of which would be down a chute into a blast danger area or a safety area, or they could continue on out and be picked up by armored carriers. Under way at this time with the launch vehicle are some checks of the secure range safety systems aboard the vehicle. These are actually checks of the receivers in that system. A range safety officer could terminate the flight of Apollo 17 if it became erratic by initiating the emergency cutoff, or if necessary, a propellant dispersion command. These systems are located on each of the flight stages, or 3 stages of the Saturn V, 2 receivers in each stage, and they would receive a signal from the range safety officers, and then sending through these receivers, they could perform the propellant dispersion. These actions, of course, would be taken only if the vehicle were so erratic that it were endangering some land areas, and of course only after the crew had used one of the escape options open to them. Test going well at this time. Our countdown continuing. T-minus 54 minutes, 6 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 50 minutes, 55 seconds, and counting. Preparations are underway in the Launch Control Center at this time for a critical power transfer test. The space vehicle at this time is being fed from an external power source, but shortly before liftoff, it will be transferred to the internal flight batteries. This test is to ensure that all electrical systems aboard the vehicle function properly on the internal flight batteries. The test takes about 5 minutes, during which time the various elements of the launch team monitor their systems and report in then to the test supervisor, Bill Schick, here in the control room, that everything looks good during the test. Depending on local weather conditions in various areas around the United States, the flight of Apollo 17 will be monitored or be able to be seen by people as far as 500 miles away. This is the flight as seen of the first stage of powered flight. This would include a large portion of the southeastern United States, northern tip of Cuba, and the Bahama Islands. The power transfer test now underway. First stage, second stage, third stage, instrument unit now all going to internal power. Countdown continuing to go well. T-minus 49 minutes, 35 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Test Control.
Okay. Okay, Skip, we'll be with you.
This is Apollo Saturn launch control. We're now T-minus 45 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. Various elements of the launch team reporting into Test Supervisor Bill Schick that they experienced no problems during the power transfer. We've now transferred back again to an external power source which will feed the vehicle systems until approximately 50 seconds before liftoff, at which time the final power transfer to internal takes place. At the T-minus 45 minute mark, we'll be watching for swing arm number 9. That's the swing arm that gives access to the spacecraft to swing back to a retract position 12 degrees back from the spacecraft. This is a park position, a standby position, where it will remain down till the final moments of the countdown. T-minus 5 minutes, it swings back to the full retract position. Once it swings back, the launch escape system aboard the top of the spacecraft can be armed, and this system could be used to pull the astronaut crew to safety in any disaster. Now, T-minus 44 minutes, 52 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, it's going normal. Idiot's power's on up. Skip, we'll give you a verify on that. I guess we're really hanging out here in the breeze now. Okay, that's where it is. And that's verified, unlatched. Okay, you got 3 of us verified. We are locked. Command module RCS logic is on up. Yes, sir. Go on 10 away. Okay, logic A, bed A, and B, bed B are closed. That's firm. Logic bed A and logic bed B are closed. Okay, arm breaker's going closed. Mark A and mark B. Okay, logic 1 on, mark it. Logic 2 on, mark it.
This is Apollo Saturn. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're T-minus 40 minutes, 51 seconds and counting. Swing arm number 9 just retracted a few minutes ago. As it retracted, the astronaut crew aboard the space vehicle could feel it moving away from the spacecraft. Eugene Cernan, spacecraft commander, commented, "We're really hanging out here in the breeze now." Spacecraft test conductor, referring to the weather, indicated that that was just a small breeze. The launch escape system has been armed. This system now could be used to carry the astronauts to safety if necessary. It's also used during the initial phases of powered flight to carry the astronauts away in an emergency. It would fly away in a high arc, pulling them to a height enough so that their parachute system could deploy and they could make a normal landing. The system is about 33 feet long. The motor develops 147,000 pounds of thrust. This is almost twice the amount of thrust of the Redstone rocket, which powered astronaut Alan Shepard, America's first man into space. The countdown continuing to move along smoothly now. T-minus 39 minutes, 36 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Hey, this is Command Module Pilot. I get ready to go to work. Okay, helium 1, gray bar. Bravo, gray bar. Charlie is gray. Delta is gray. Okay, helium 2, alpha is gray. Bravo is gray. Charlie is gray. Delta is gray. Secondary propellant fuel pressures, we're closing that. A is closed. Bravo is closed. Charlie is closed. Delta is closed. Okay, great. Hello, Fritz. This is CD Army. You're loud and clear. How's Challenger looking to you? Super. Listen, you guys delivered us the best, and it's our turn. We'll do our darnest to deliver you the best. Listen, keep those wrists in good shape, and I'll try and do a little walking out there, and we can get together when we get back. Hey, listen, thank the guys. We want to see you as soon as we can when we get back, and I guarantee you we will. Thank you, Fritz. Take care, Fritz, and enjoy it with us, will you? Yes, sir. Go ahead. 3700.
This Apollo Saturn launch control. We're T-minus 35 minutes, 11 seconds, and counting. Spacecraft Commander Gene Cernan just reported back to the spacecraft test conductor, Skip Chauvin. He said, "You've delivered us the best. Now it's our turn." Thank the guys. We want to see them as soon as we can when we get back, and I guarantee you we'll do that. Meanwhile, C-band beacon checks are going on with the space vehicle. The liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen fully aboard and being replenished at this time to ensure a full load at liftoff. Countdown continuing to go smoothly as we approach the half-hour mark. T-minus 34 minutes, 34 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Swinging. Okay, we understand.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 30 minutes, 54 seconds, and counting. Manned spacecraft just indicated to the test supervisor, Bill Schick, that we are go for the terminal countdown sequences. Final propulsion checks have been completed, and the C-band readouts, once again repeated, have been completed. Beach Boss reports the launch site recovery force helicopters are on station and ready. Digital range safety command checks are now underway as the countdown continues smoothly, aiming for the T-minus 30-minute mark. Now T-minus 30 minutes, 24 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, service module propellant. Alpha is up. We got 2 grays. Bravo is up. We have 2 grays. Charlie is up. We have 2 grays. Delta is up, and we have 2 grays.
Yeah.
Okay, package temperature 80. Helium pressure 4,000. Secondary fuel about 196. The propellant quantity is a little better than 100. Tank temperature is 75. Okay, and Bravo, we've got package temperature of 80. Helium pressure is 4,000 plus a little. Secondary fuel is, that's about right at 200. And tank temperature is 74. Propellant quantity is 99%, we'll say. Okay, and Charlie, package temperature 80, helium pressure 4,000 plus. Secondary fuel 200. Propellant quantity is 100. And the tank temperature is about 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, for Delta, package temperature is about 78. Helium pressure is 4,000 plus. Secondary fuel pressure is about 203, somewhere in there. And the tank temperature is 75. Propellant quantity is 100 plus.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 25 minutes, 54 seconds and counting. Command Module pilot Ron Evans at this time has armed the reaction control system aboard the service module. He does this by allowing the hypergolic fuels to move down the lines to the engines. At this time, he's reading out the temperatures, pressures, and fuel quantities in that system. Our weather continues to look good. The major frontal area, which had been of some concern earlier, has remained well west of the launch area. Also, some smaller buildups, which we have been monitoring, do not appear to be coming close enough to cause any concern for our 9:53 p.m. launch time. That launch will be aiming Apollo 17 for the Taurus Littrow area of the moon. This area named after the Taurus Mountains, these in southern Turkey, and the Austrian astronomer Littrow. The site is expected to yield some of the oldest and some of the youngest lunar samples returned during the Apollo flights to the moon. Now, T-minus 24 minutes, 50 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Go. All set, Skip. AC roll, all four are off. Bravo 1 is Alpha. D1B. B2 is A. D2B. A3 is B. C3A. A4A. C4B. B3A. B3B. B4B. And that's Delta 4 going to Alpha. Very fine, Skip. Hope it's as beautiful out there as it looks to us in here.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 20 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. A short time from now, we'll begin chilling the propulsion systems aboard the second and third stage of the Saturn V vehicle. This is necessary to condition them for the flow of the super cold liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. Just a few moments ago, the crew aboard Spacecraft America was given an updated weather forecast. Cernan reported, "I hope it's as beautiful out there as it is in here." Countdown continuing to move smoothly at T-minus 20 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
You sure are quiet, Skip. Oh, yes, sir. Well, I figure I'm living enough of that. I try to get a little different experience with my books. Now, if you want to talk about Civil War, we might strike up a conversation. This is CDR and CMP. What'd you say? I guess I'll defer to the experts. Skip, Ron and I glanced over and looked at the booster tonight, and I never saw anything look more alive in my life that was purely mechanical. You think about the size of the thing with its little brain in there all tied to you guys, it's hard to not have anything but confidence.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 15 minutes, 52 seconds and counting. The Vice President of the United States, Spiro Agnew, has entered the Launch Control Center now. He'll observe the final portions of the countdown from here and also the launch. Arming and checking of the service module reaction control system has now been completed, and in progress is the chill down of the S2 or second stage start tanks. Checkouts continuing to go well, some running a little bit ahead of schedule, all on time. T-minus 15 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Test Control.
Roger that, Charlie, 33.9. Got it. Yes, sir.
Test count on PAO release, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Test out.
Verified 162. 090. And the yaw is 0. World pitching yaw, rate 1. 5-5. Rate is high. CDRs is armed. CMP, mine's locked. Direct 1 and 2, main A, main B. CMC and free. Correction, SCS CMC mode is free. Gas control power is on up.
Milan Network, Net 1, your status for launch.
Roger, Stony, it's the LMP, you're loud and clear.
Milan Network, Net 1,
Hello, go ahead, Network. You're loud and
your
clear.
status for launch.
Where go? And you're loud and clear, that's 17.
Bermuda Network,
Bermuda's go.
Vanguard,
Vanguard's go.
Antigua, Canary,
Stony, you're loud and clear. LM, you're loud and clear.
Canary Network, Net 1,
The CC, you're loud and clear. Canary's go.
Roger.
Channel 6, S-band going on. VHF is off.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 10 minutes, 55 seconds, and counting. This time, some computer checks being run with the launch vehicle. The spacecraft has now gone to full internal power. Up to this point, the spacecraft fuel cells had been sharing the power load with an external source. Also going on at this time are some checks of the Astro Comm circuit. This is the circuit which is used by the launch operations manager, spacecraft test conductor, Stony, and the 3 astronauts at launch time. This to ensure that they are not getting any extraneous voices or having to listen to any of the other networks which might be carrying on conversations which they don't need at that time. Countdown proceeding smoothly, T-minus 10 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Let it be known that they're all aboard with us all the way. You are, Bob, you are. Going TR. Roger, VHF TR. SCS thrust is normal. Okay, they're both off and both guarded. Alpha. Okay, EDS Auto is on up now. 2 engine out, verify auto. Launch vehicle rates, verify auto. RCS command is off, release. One is AC1 main A. 2 AC2 main B. Okay, that's going latch. Roger, TC, understand Challenger is go for launch.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. T-minus 8 minutes and counting. T-minus 8 minutes and counting. The Vice President in the firing room at the Launch Control Center, observing the final minutes of the countdown, and he'll watch the launch from here. The countdown has proceeded smoothly since picking up at 11:53 a.m. this morning. Our weather continues to look good as we aim toward a 9:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time launch. Now T-minus 7 minutes 37 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, we'll be looking for him.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 5 minutes, 54 seconds and counting. At this time, entering the final phases of the countdown, various elements of the team reporting into Test Supervisor Bill Schick with their go, no-goes for launch. At launch time, a water deluge system at the pad will spray water over the entire area of the pad, some 400,000 gallons of water, more than an average family would use in 3 years, will be spread over the pad and the swing arms, protecting them from the searing flames of the Saturn V first stage. Various elements reporting in now. First stage reporting they are go. Range safety, Superintendent of Range Operations, they are go. Launch Operations Manager reports he is go for launch. Launch Director Walter Caprian has given a go for launch. We passed the 5-minute mark, T-minus 4 minutes, 55 seconds and counting, and swing arm number 9 now coming back to the fully retracted position. The launch escape system sitting atop the spacecraft named America by the crew, now could pull the crew to safety if there were any problems while the vehicle remains on the pad or during the early portions of the flight. At the T-minus 4-minute mark, we'll be standing by for a word from the launch vehicle test conductor, Norm Carlson, giving it clear for launch for the launch vehicle ignition. At T-minus 3 minutes 7 seconds, we'll go on an automatic sequencer. It's called the terminal countdown sequencer. The astronauts on the Astro Comm circuit now, reporting and thanking the launch team for all their prayers and all their help. T-minus 3 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. Apollo 17, the launch team wishes you good luck and Godspeed, reports the Launch Operations Manager over the Astro Comm circuit.
Air 5, program 02.
T-minus 3 minutes, 40 seconds, the countdown continuing to go along smoothly. Once we go on the terminal countdown sequencer, the count will be automatic from there on out. The countdown sequencer will initiate the various functions from that time on. However, the men here in the firing room will be monitoring their consoles, watching temperatures, pressures, various readouts. They could override that terminal sequencer if necessary. Moving up now to the time when we'll go on that terminal sequencer, T-minus 3 minutes, 10 seconds, and counting. Spacecraft ready light has come on, indicating that the spacecraft is ready. We are now on the terminal sequencer. Launch sequence has started.
Roger, 3 minutes, Bob.
Flowing of that water on the pad will begin at the 1 minute mark.
Forward.
Flowing on the flame deflector below the launch vehicle, on the launch pedestal itself, and along the swing arms, which will be coming back at liftoff. Instrument unit ready light has come on. Emergency detection system ready light is on. All indications are we are go for launch as we approach the 2 minute, 30-second mark. Pressurization of the various propellant tanks now aboard the space vehicle is starting. S2 or second stage liquid oxygen tanks now pressurized. These propellant tanks are pressurized with helium to ensure that during the flight the fuel flows properly down through the engines. It's quiet here in the firing room now as the men are monitoring their consoles, looking at the temperatures, checking pressures, and a variety of parameters to ensure everything is in a go condition.
Roger, 2 minutes.
Pressurization continuing on the fuel tanks. At this time, we'll go to the critical power transfer at the T-minus 50-second mark in the countdown. At that time, we'll transfer external power source to the flight batteries aboard the space vehicle. The final action by the crew aboard the spacecraft America will be a final guidance alignment. This is conducted by the spacecraft commander, Gene Cernan. The flight of Apollo 17 will be able to be seen, depending on weather conditions, some 500 miles away as it goes into Earth orbit. Pressurization continuing. Liquid hydrogen tanks now aboard the second stage have been pressurized. All propellants aboard the second stage now pressurized. A cover aboard the cue ball. This is the cue ball system on top of the launch escape system, will be pulled off just shortly before launch. First stage propellant tanks have been pressurized, now past the 1 minute mark, and we are going on internal power. Now all systems to internal power. We'll be looking for the engine start sequence at the 8.9 second mark in the countdown. The engines will build up to a thrust of 7.6 million pounds. T-minus 30 seconds. We have a cutoff. We have a cutoff at T-minus 30 seconds. We're standing by at T-minus 30-second mark. We'll bring word to you just as soon as we get it. We have a cutoff at T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
That's the firm. Understand, we're just holding fast here.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're holding at the 30-second mark. This was an automatic cutoff, cut off by the terminal sequencer. As mentioned, this sequencer initiates various actions. Each action must take place and must be completed before the next one can be initiated. If anything does not get completed in time, there will be an automatic cutoff. This cutoff was automatic, done by the sequencer. We're standing by now to check just what the problem was. Now T-minus 30 seconds and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, it's pushed to normal.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, the astronaut crew aboard the spacecraft going through their various safing now, safing of all systems, and the launch team here continuing through their emergency procedures. We'll be standing by to check out the problem just as soon as we can get word. T-minus 30 seconds and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Roger, GBC server 1 is off and 2 is off. Roger, reacts valve to normal.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, the safing procedures continuing at this time. Up to the T-minus 30-second mark, the countdown had been proceeding smoothly. Weather conditions at launch were predicted to be and appeared to be good at that time. However, we had an automatic cutoff from the terminal countdown sequencer, and we're standing by to see just what caused that automatic cutoff. All systems being safe at this time, T-minus 30 seconds, and we are in a hold. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Roger, going off and then auto. AC. AC. Okay, CDR, SATCOM. And LNP's TR. TC, CDR. Oh, you're busy, Skip. Just wondered if you think it's going to be go for a recycle here.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing in our hold at the 30-second mark while the launch team assesses our problem. The swing arm number 9, will be brought back to its park position, which is 12 degrees back from the space vehicle. Continuing the safing procedures this time and assessing the problem, holding at T-minus 30 seconds. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, Skip, we're just sitting tight. Okay. Yeah, I'll get my pencil out, I guess. Roger, coming back to park.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing our hold at the T-minus 30-second mark as the launch team assesses our problem. At this time, swing arm number 9 is going back to the 12-degree park position. This is in a position about 15 to 20 feet from the spacecraft. All safing procedures have proceeded normally. We're continuing our hold while we assess the problem at T-minus 30 seconds. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, we'll be ready when you are.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, the swing arm number 9 is now back to that retract position at the 12-degree position. Point out that the window we have tonight extends to 1:31 a.m. So we have some time here to assess the problem and then recycle and continue our countdown. We're continuing to hold at the 30-second mark at this time. T-minus 30 seconds and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, Skip, so we're looking at another 55 minutes or so, is that correct? Okay.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're at T-minus 30 seconds and continuing our hold. The problem was with the terminal countdown sequencer, which failed to give the command to pressurize the third stage LOX tank. The crew in the firing room, realizing this or seeing this happen, pressurized the tank manually, but this did not happen fast enough to satisfy the automatic sequencer. As was mentioned earlier during this sequence, everything must happen at a certain time before the next step in the sequence can take place. The next step that was to take place was the retraction of swing arm 9, and at the time that was to take place, the terminal sequencer had not had an indication that the third stage lock tanks had been pressurized. The plan now is to recycle to the T-minus 22-minute mark in the countdown. Now, this recycling procedure will take an additional 35 to 40 minutes. This still puts us well within our launch window. While we're recycling, we'll continue to review the data to determine just what the problem is and whether or not we can proceed from the T-minus 22-minute mark for a launch later in the window. The crew aboard the spacecraft has been alerted to the problem and understand what is happening. They're standing by there at this time. Now, T-minus 30 seconds and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're remaining still in the T-minus 30-second mark. We'll remain here for some period. It will take approximately 35 to 40 minutes to recycle back to T-minus 22 minutes, where we'll resume the count. To explain again, what had happened was we were in what was called the terminal countdown sequencer. At 3 minutes, 7 seconds in the countdown, we go on to an automatic system called the terminal countdown sequencer. This countdown sequencer initiates various actions, the final actions in the count. Each of these must occur on schedule and in sequence. Now, what happened at this particular time was the third stage liquid oxygen tank was not automatically pressurized as it should have been. The launch crew here in the firing room, when they saw this, manually pressurized that system, but it was too late to satisfy the sequencer. The next event in the sequence was the retraction of swing arm number 1, swing arm going over to the first stage, and at that time the sequencer did not see that the tank had been pressurized and set an automatic cutoff. So we had an automatic cutoff at the 30-second mark. We're standing by at the 30-second mark to go back to T-minus 22 minutes, and we are reevaluating the problem, looking at what caused the sequencer not to automatically pressurize that tank, seeing what that problem is, and seeing if there's a possibility, if we go ahead and do this manually early in the sequence, if that will satisfy the sequencer and we can proceed. Now, holding at the T-minus 30-second mark in our countdown, this is Kennedy Launch Control.
Thank you, Paul. That's good news. To firm, Perp 78 enter.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing to stand by here at the T-minus 30-second mark in the countdown. The crew remaining perfectly calm in their spacecraft. They've gone through their safing checks. The various safing checks of the launch vehicle have been completed. We're now going through preparations for recycling to the T-minus 22-minute mark. Standing by at this time at T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds and holding in the countdown for Apollo 17. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing our hold at the 30-second mark. We'll recycle to the T-minus 22-minute mark. The T-minus 22-minute mark is chosen as the recycling point because this is a point where we start the chill down, as was mentioned during that point in the countdown. We start the chill down of the second and third stages to prepare them for the influx of the liquid hydrogen, the cold liquid hydrogen, and the cold liquid oxygen. This chill down has some very specific parameters and must be started at a certain time and cannot go beyond a certain time. So it's best to go back to that point in the countdown under these circumstances and resume our count at the T-minus 22-minute mark when a determination is made that we can resume. Continuing to look at the data here to see exactly what happened. There is no indication of ignition. Ignition was scheduled to come at the 8.9-second mark. Here in the control room, a number of the people were looking through the remote cameras, which have the capability out at the pad of zooming in on specific areas, and a number of people here were looking right at those first stage engines, and there was no indication whatsoever of engine ignition. We're continuing to evaluate all the data at this time as we hold at the T-minus 30-second mark. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
CDR. Skip, did you discuss that EDS auto switch? Okay.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, still in our hold at the 30-second mark. While the launch team here is busy recycling to the T-minus 22-minute mark, the mission team out at the Manned Spacecraft Center also pre-planning some of the new times for the mission. They're also at this time busily pre-planning the new launch azimuth. The azimuth now, if we go at the next opportunity, would be 81.06 degrees. This will be automatically fed into the instrument unit of the Saturn V vehicle from the Manned Spacecraft Center. All elements of the launch team now putting everything together, checking over data, and doing their best to put us back into a recycle position, ready to pick up the count at the T-minus 22-minute mark. Still evaluating data, however, and we have not at this time been given a go for that resuming of the count. T-minus 30 seconds and holding at this time. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Go ahead. Okay, hardly concur with that. And EDS auto switch is off.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, continuing our hold at the 30-second mark. Back at the Mission Control Center in Houston, the flight controllers returning to their seats now after some consultations. They're back now giving a status check and getting ready in case it is determined that we can pick up the count. In the firing room here, the Apollo Program Director, Rocco Petrone, has moved into the viewing area where the Vice President Spiro Agnew and NASA Administrator James Fletcher are, and he's giving them a briefing and a rundown on our problem. We're standing by at this time. The clock has now been recycled to the T-minus 22-minute mark. However, we have not picked up the count at that mark, but we are now at T-minus 22 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing to stand by at the T-minus 22-minute mark in the countdown. Recycling operations have gone well. We're back at the T-minus 22-minute mark, and it's at this mark which we would pick up the count if we are given a go to resume. A check has been made of the Mission Control Center team. It's Mission Control Center in Houston. All elements of that team reporting that they are ready to resume as soon as they get the word. Now standing by here at Kennedy Space Center while data is reviewed, and determination will be made if and when we can resume our countdown for Apollo 17. Now T-minus 22 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, Skip.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing to stand by at the T-minus 22-minute mark. We're hoping to resume the count shortly. The problem has not been resolved. We're continuing to look into it. However, it has been determined that a resolution one way or the other should be able to be made shortly. So right now we are continuing our recycle procedures, hoping to pick up the count perhaps just minutes from now. If the problem is not resolved by the time we reach the T-minus 8-minute mark, after we continue to count down, the clock will be held again. Right now we're continuing the recycling procedures, hoping to pick up shortly at T-minus 22 minutes. We're now T-minus 22 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, Skip, and when are you going to pick up to minus 22? Okay.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing to stand by at the T-minus 22-minute mark. We've been given the word here in the firing room now that the count will be resumed at 11 p.m. at T-minus 22 minutes. At this time, there has still not been a resolution to the problem, but we'll continue looking at that. We could continue on counting down while this problem is looked at. To reiterate what the problem was, the terminal countdown sequencer failed to give the command to pressurize the third stage liquid oxygen tank. The crews monitoring this function saw that happened and immediately manually pressurized the tanks, but this did not occur in time in the sequence, and when swing arm 1 was to retract, it had not received this signal. As a consequence, an automatic cutoff was sent. There are several possible workarounds to this. They're being looked into at this time, and we plan to resume our countdown at the T-minus 22-minute mark at 11 p.m. Now holding at T-minus 22 minutes, this is Kennedy Launch Control.
SLP, we understand that. We've had a little voting here, and it's 2 to 1 to leave it the way it is right now. Actually, it's 3 to 1. The commander's on my side. We let him win one about once a month. CMP copies. Very good, Skip.
This is Apollo Saturn launch control. We're at T-minus 21 minutes, 10 seconds, and counting. The countdown picked up. The launch team here made a quick check of the various elements, all reporting into the test supervisor, Bill Schick, indicating that they were ready to resume the count. Now counting at T-minus 20 minutes, 53 seconds, and we'll continue to count down here as we look at the problem which caused the hold at the T-minus 30-second mark. Now T-minus 20 minutes, 42 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Affirmative, plus 082.54. Okay, should be torquing. Negative, it didn't work. Okay, Skip, it looks like the torquing's complete. That's the firm the FDI number 1 has completed torquing. All right, we'll do that now. Okay, GDC is aligned to the IMU, and I'm back in 1/2 CMC and GDC.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're at T-minus 14 minutes, 35 seconds, and counting in our countdown for Apollo 17. Back at the Mission Control Center, the men there are updating the launch azimuth. Launch azimuth standing now at 82.54 degrees. This will automatically be fed into the instrument unit. The swing arm number 9, the access arm to the spacecraft, remains at the 12-degree position. It will remain there until the T-minus 5-minute mark in the countdown. Going on at this time are the cycling of some of the vents for the liquid hydrogen and the liquid oxygen. These are the vents which allow the venting of these gases as there is some boil-off occurring. It's necessary to continue venting these to ensure that they do not freeze in either an open or a closed position. The countdown proceeding smoothly now, T-minus 13 minutes, 43 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, roll is 173, pitch is 090, and yaw 0. Roll, pitch, and yaw, rate 1. Scale 5-5. Rate high. Negative, it is arm now. CAP, verify lock. Main A, main B. Mode free. Advanced control power on up. Okay. T-minus 8 for approximately 20. Yeah, it'll probably even go a little faster this time. We should have started that book discussion there, Skip. That's a book discussion. Oh, anything. Thomas Hardy, you name it.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're at T-minus 9 minutes, 36 seconds, and we are counting. However, we do plan to continue the hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark. We can hold at that point for 20 minutes and plan a 20-minute hold while the launch crew here satisfies themselves that they have worked out a good solution and a workaround to the problem. The crew has been alerted aboard the spacecraft. Cernan indicated that perhaps they could start a nice conversation about a good book, Thomas Hardy or something like that. Countdown continuing now, aiming toward the 8-minute mark, at which time we'll hold T-minus 9 minutes now, T-minus 9 minutes and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Robert, we're still reading you loud and clear. Loud and clear, all on. VHF is off.
This Apollo Saturn launch control, we're now holding at the 8-minute mark as planned. The hold at this time is planned for approximately 20 minutes. The crew feels that they have a workaround to the problem, working around the indication going to the terminal sequencer that the tank has not been pressurized when actually it had been done manually. They are checking all of their data, however, to ensure that this is the proper method to work around the problem and that this will result in a smooth countdown from here on. Now T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
This is CDR. Yeah, I'm listening. I guess the most important thing, Paul, is if it makes sense to you. Okay. Satisfy them. I guess you can certainly satisfy us. This is CDR. Copy to you loud and clear, S-band.
This Apollo Saturn launch control, we're continuing our hold at the 8-minute mark. The launch operations manager has gone over with the launch team their proposed solution, a workaround. The team appears to be satisfied that it is the proper one. They are now briefing management personnel on the problem and the workaround. Out at the pad, the liquid oxygen continues to vent from the vehicle and is replenished. Liquid hydrogen is also vented from the vehicle as there is some boil off. However, because it is quite a volatile fuel, it's vented to a burn pond at the side of the pad. That burn pond is at the north side of the pad, and there it can be seen burning in a controlled condition at this time. This is a normal condition. Actually, during the day, this burns in such a pure manner that it cannot be seen. However, at night, it is clearly visible. Our countdown continuing to hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark at this time. T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
LMP's TR. VHF is TR. It's normal. A and B, delivery thrust are off and guarded. It's Alpha. CMP go. Okay, we're acknowledge. Hey, TC, LMP. If your ECS guys got a minute, I got another question. Yes, Echo Charlie Sierra. Do we have a documented bias in our accumulator gauge for the glycol? Our little rule of thumb, quantity over 4 plus 32 doesn't seem to fit tonight. Well, do you have one? I'm reading 30%. Percentage of what? Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't really help me much. Should I be reading about 50 to 55% now in the accumulator quantity if I had your gauge? Okay, well, I'm reading 30 on primary and 35 on secondary. Okay, I just want to be sure that I'm looking at a gauge bias or a sensor bias here. Okay. Okay, for Houston, they might think about where they want. Yeah, we just had a loud squeal that wiped out everything for a minute. Yeah, more or less. It's when we get into orbit to fill, we'll probably be filling on partly on pressure rather than on the accumulator indication. That's the firm. I'm still in Alpha. And where do we stand now in the hole, Skip? Okay.
This Apollo Saturn launch control, we're continuing to hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark. Meantime, the crew is getting a variety of updates in the spacecraft, updating them on various aspects and the changes to their mission due to this hold period. Also at the Manned Spacecraft Center, they're continuing to update the flight azimuth as they get new times for the launch. Launch Operations Manager Paul Donnelly just went through quite an extensive briefing with the spacecraft test conductor to pass on to the crew what they feel the problems were and how they plan to work around it. The crew aboard the spacecraft indicated that if the launch team was satisfied with these solutions, they certainly were confident themselves. Now, continuing our hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark, this is Kennedy Test Control.
Okay, so instead of a plus 32, we use a plus 36 or 7, which I figured out a little while ago. That'd be pretty good there still, right? Okay, thank you, John. I just never got the word, I guess. Okay, Skip, how far into that 20-minute hold are we? Okay. Where are you, Skip? Okay, that's fine with us. We're going to need all 3 stages and top one twice so we can wait. Hope we're not keeping you up, Skip. The longer you hold us here, the more questions I'll come up with.
This Apollo Saturn launch control, we're continuing in our hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark. At this time, it's been determined to take an additional 20 minutes, add an additional 20 minutes to that planned hold period. The reason for this is the crews would like to take the workaround that they have devised, and at Marshall Space Flight Center, where the Saturn V launch vehicle was developed, they have what is called a breadboard, or a system which is similar to this one, and run through the sequence and ensure that it does operate properly. The crew aboard the spacecraft was informed of this additional 20-minute hold. They indicated that they expected to use all 3 stages of this Saturn V, and they were happy to have the 20-minute hold if that was going to assure that all 3 were going to work properly. Now, continuing our hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark, this is Kennedy Launch Control.
Roger, went to boost. Service Marshal at Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta are on, and back to acknowledge. Okay, I went to boost. Service Marshal Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta caution and warning lights are on, and then I went back to acknowledge. Yeah, that's affirmed.
This Apollo Saturn Test Control, we're continuing our hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark. The reason the T-minus 8-minute mark is chosen for this hold, as mentioned earlier, has to do with the chill down of the thrust chambers in the S2 or second stage and the third stage. Both of these stages use liquid hydrogen, an extremely cold or cryogenic fuel, and the thrust chamber must be conditioned prior to flight so that it's ready at the time of ignition in flight to receive these fuels coming in. To achieve the proper temperature, the thrust chamber chill down should not exceed 20 minutes, but it must be on for at least 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So rounding that off, the hold was called at the 8-minute mark. We can continuously hold it at this point, whereas if we continued on down, we would have to watch these parameters very closely so that we did not exceed that 20-minute accumulated cooling time. At this point, we can continue our hold, and that continuation can be determined by the problem, and we can pick up then at any time or continue as long as necessary. We're continuing that hold now, T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, TC, LMP would like to put the secondary pump to AC1. We finally got a vote of 1 to 3 in favor of that. Okay, it's AC1.
This Apollo Saturn launch control, we're continuing in our hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark. Back at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, crews there are at work on a breadboard or a mock-up of the system in question, where they're putting it through its paces, checking out the workaround solution that is jumping around this erroneous signal and ensuring that everything works properly. The crew still standing by in the spacecraft, updating various systems there, updating their flight plan, all continuing to go well there. The crew at the Manned Spacecraft Center also doing considerable amount of updating. They'll be continuing to update the azimuth, and the Launch Control Center here at Kennedy Space Center. The launch team manning their consoles, standing by to pick up the count when we're given the word to go. However, we're standing by still at this time. We have no word from the Marshall Space Flight Center. We're expecting that to come within 10 to 15 minutes from this time. Now T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're continuing in our hold period at this time. Test Supervisor Bill Schick just announced here in the firing room that the hold is expected to last approximately 20 more minutes. Liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen continue to be replenished aboard the 3 stages of the launch vehicle at this time. That replenishing will continue during the hold period and during the final minutes of the countdown. Countdown continuing in the hold, T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Go ahead, STC. This is 17. Okay, Skip, understand. Very comfortable. Yeah, it's not so bad in there after all. No comment. Guys are getting pretty good at the dramatics here tonight. Good, Houston. Okay, we'll be standing by for your go orbit, Bob. Yeah, where are that one? Okay. Bob, this is LNP, and we'll stand by as convenient. No other problems for your AOS updates as we go around, okay?
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control at 1 minute to midnight. 1 minute to midnight, we're continuing to hold at the T-minus 8 minute mark. Work still going on at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. Updating of the tracking continuing at the Manned Spacecraft Center in Houston, and the launch team here at Kennedy Space Center preparing to pick up the count. Hopefully we'll be given a go-ahead to pick up the count in approximately 10 to 12 minutes from this time. We are continuing to stand by, waiting to hear from the testing going on at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville. To recap the activities earlier today, the countdown picked up at 11:53 a.m. after a planned hold period, picked up at the T-minus 9 hour mark. Shortly after that time, the pad was cleared, and we began loading the cryogenic fuels, that's the liquid hydrogen and the liquid oxygen, aboard the space vehicle. Those operations actually went a little bit ahead of schedule. The astronaut crew went out to the pad, entered their spacecraft, began checking it out, and those operations also running a little bit ahead of schedule. We went on to our terminal countdown sequencer at the 3-minute 6-second mark as scheduled. Everything seemed to be proceeding fine. At the T-minus 30-second mark, we got an automatic cutoff. It was determined that this cutoff came because pressurization of the liquid oxygen tank aboard the 3rd stage was not initiated automatically as it should have been. When it was done manually, the terminal sequencer did not sense that this had been done and therefore gave the automatic cutoff. We're working the problem right now, continuing to hold at the T-minus 8 minute mark. T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Okay, Carnarvon, you're saying now will be about 5220. Well, okay, we got 5221 in our checklist, so we'll just assume that's about the same. Okay, very good. Houston, CDR. Bob, on a nominal insertion, how long do you have Vanguard? Okay, that's very fine, thank you. Houston, LMP. Page 2-13, launch checklist, step 13. You want me to accomplish that at LOS after insertion, if that's convenient? Let's see, COM. No, the bottom of 2-13. Okay, depending on how exciting it's been, I'll try to get it.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, continuing to hold at the T-minus 8 minute mark. The hold continues to be planned for approximately 5 to 7 more minutes. However, the launch window, it should be pointed out tonight, extends to 1:31 a.m. Now, if for any reason we could not make it in that launch window, we could recycle under our present configuration and resume our count, aiming for a 9:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time launch tonight. The window for tonight is the same as it was for last night and this morning, 9:53 p.m. to 1:31 a.m. However, the launch team appears to be optimistic with the solution they've found to the problem. They're just waiting for verification and confirmation from the testing going on at the Marshall Space Flight Center at Huntsville, Alabama. The time now is 7 minutes after midnight. We're continuing to hold at T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, continuing to hold at the 8 minute mark in the countdown. Still awaiting word from the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, and the result of the test being run at this time up there. Meanwhile, here in the firing room, all elements of the launch team are assessing their position. They are assessing the effect of the hold and this amount of hold time on each of their systems. Everyone at this time busily at work here in the firing room, also at the Mission Control Center in Houston, busy there with their flight updates. Now continuing to hold at the T-minus 8 minute mark. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
STC-17. Weather still looking good to you? Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, 12 minutes to picking it up at -8.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're at 15 minutes past the hour, continuing to hold at the T-minus 8 minute mark. Test supervisor just indicated that we plan to pick up the clock at the T-minus 8 minute mark in 10 minutes, planning to pick up the clock at 25 minutes past the hour. The tests being run at, or have been run now at the Marshall Space Flight Center, and indicate that our system is good the way it has been reconfigured. All elements now during this 10 minutes will be preparing their various systems to pick up the clock at the T-minus 8 minute mark. Meanwhile, out at the Manned Spacecraft Center, the flight controllers there are also planning to pick up the clock. We just received a go from the Superintendent of Range Operations indicating that the range has been cleared around the new flight azimuth. Manned Spacecraft Center Houston flight indicates that they are go to pick up the clock at 25 minutes past the hour. Now T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Yeah, that's firm. As soon as we pick up the clock, if it's okay with you all, I'll go ahead and have the verb 78 entered in there. Understand that one. Okay, thank you.
This Apollo Saturn Launch Control, we're continuing our hold at the T-minus 8-minute mark. We have approximately 5 more minutes remaining in that hold. It's been determined that the workaround is a correct and satisfactory one. A breadboard or a sample system at the Marshall Space Flight Center was used to run through the entire sequence as it's now configured, and that operated satisfactorily. What happened was during the terminal sequencer, the liquid oxygen tank was not pressurized automatically. When this was done manually, the indication did not get to the sensors in time, so that we had an automatic cutoff. The liquid oxygen tanks aboard the third stage, it's been determined, will be pressurized manually early in the terminal sequence, and jumpers have been installed so that we can then feed the information to the sequencer, so that it will not have an indication that the LOX tanks have not been pressurized. A breadboard situation of this has been constructed at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, and this has operated satisfactorily. So it's been determined to go ahead with our countdown on this basis. We'll be planning to pick up the count at the T-minus 8-minute mark some 4 minutes from now. Now, T-minus 8 minutes and holding. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
Roger, Azimuth plus 09er 1.50. Okay, verb 78, enter. Verb 21, enter. Plus 09er 1.50, enter. Okay, we'll proceed. What's the torque? Okay, she's torquing now.
Mila network, net 1.
Let's go, network.
Bermuda network. Net 1, Bermuda.
Bermuda's on net 1, we'll go.
Vanguard.
Vanguard's go.
Roger,
Going on.
Canary. I don't believe we're going to see you for this pass.
GDC is aligned. It's a firm 1/2 CMC and GDC. Determine 182 on the roll, 90 and 0. Good luck, clear, Bob. CMP loud clear. LMP's loud and clear. Thank you. EDS auto is on now. Verify 2 engine out and launch vehicle racer auto. RCS command is off.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're now resuming the count. T-minus 7 minutes, 54 seconds, and counting. At this time in the spacecraft, updates being given to the spacecraft commander, Eugene Cernan. The swing arm still at the 12-degree position. That's the park position, standing by at the spacecraft. That will be brought back to the full retract position at approximately T-minus 5 minutes in the countdown. The flight director just ran through his team, a status report from his team at the Mission Control Center. That team all reported they are in a go condition. Now, T-minus 7 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control.
That's verified off. Roger 6.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control, T-minus 5 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting. At this time, the various elements of the launch team have been reporting into Bill Schick, the test supervisor, indicating that we are go to continue. Mission Director Chet Lee just verifies that we are go for launch. Safety indicates that we have a go. First stage test conductor, this is the man who has charge of those 5 first stage engines, which will give us the liftoff, has indicated a go for launch. Launch operations manager Paul Donnelly also giving us a go for launch. And finally, the launch director, Walter Caprian, says we are go for launch. We've passed the 5-minute mark now, and swing arm number 9. This is the access arm to the spacecraft, is coming back to the full retract position. It moves back alongside the mobile launch tower, and it will remain there now through the final portion of the countdown and the launch. At the T-minus 60-second mark, 20 nozzles will start flame deflector deluge of 13,000 gallons per minute of water pouring down on that flame deflector. So a great deal of what is seen at launch time, which looks like smoke, is actually steam as this water is burned off. This water to cool the pad area and to cool the equipment alongside of the launch tower, as the water also pours across the swing arms and the launch tower. We're approaching the 4-minute mark in the countdown now. T-minus 4 minutes 5 seconds and continuing to count. At the 4-minute mark, we'll stand by for a final go from Norm Carlson, the launch vehicle test conductor. He's given a go. The launch operations manager now switching over to the Astro Comm circuit. This is the circuit that the astronauts, the launch operations manager, and the spacecraft communicator will remain on. They have this private circuit to keep extraneous talk off of their circuit. They are checking in. They are checking in now on the Astro Comm circuit, indicating that they are go. Spacecraft has indicated they are ready. Instrument unit ready light has come on. S1C at the first stage. Preparations are now complete as we approach the 3-minute mark. There's quiet in the firing room now as the engineers and technicians are monitoring their consoles. They're monitoring the various rates, pressures, temperatures. They can override the terminal sequencer if they cite a problem that it has not picked up. We are on that terminal sequencer now. We've passed the 3-minute mark, T-minus 2 minutes, 47 seconds, and counting as we are on the terminal sequencer. At the T-minus 50-second mark, we'll be looking for that critical power transfer. This is where we transfer from the external power source, which has been feeding the 3 stages of the launch vehicle, to internal power. That's to the flight batteries aboard the space vehicle. It's expected that given proper weather conditions, people will be observing this flight from as much as 500 miles away. This includes a large portion of the southeastern United States, the northern tip of Cuba, and the Bahama Islands. Now approaching the 2-minute mark. T-minus 2 minutes and counting, and the countdown continues to move along smoothly. Now in the terminal countdown portion. The automatic sequencer has stopped the replenishing of the liquid oxygen and the liquid hydrogen. We're standing by now to begin pressurization of the fuel tanks. The 2nd stage fuel tank pressurized, 3rd stage fuel tank pressurized. The countdown continuing to move along smoothly. T-minus 90 seconds. T-minus 90 seconds. Countdown continuing smoothly. S4B propellants pressurized. The indication now using the workaround showing the S4B propellants have been pressurized. Now looking at the liquid hydrogen tanks as they become pressurized. LH2 aboard the 2nd stage pressurized. All propellants now aboard the 2nd stage pressurized as we approach the 1-minute mark in the countdown. Mark T-minus 1 minute and counting now in the final minute of the countdown. At T-minus 45 seconds, Gene Cernan will make the final guidance alignment. This is the mark, T-minus 45, and Gene Cernan made that final guidance alignment. That's the last action taken by the crew aboard the space vehicle. Now approaching the 1/2-minute mark. T-minus 33, T-minus 30 seconds, and continuing on now. Continuing on at the T-minus 26-second mark, T-minus 25. We'll get a final guidance release at the T-minus 17-second mark. T-minus 17, final guidance release. We'll expect engine ignition at 8.9 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, ignition sequence started. All engines are started. We have ignition. 2, 1, 0. We have a liftoff. We have a liftoff. Engine lighting up the area. It's like daylight here at Kennedy Space Center as the Saturn V is moving off the pad. It has now cleared the tower.
Roger, tower, yaw is complete. We're in a roll, Bob.
Roger, Gino, looking great. Thrust good on all 5 engines.
Okay, babe, it's looking good here. Roll is complete. We are pitching.
This is Mission Control, Gene Cernan reporting
30 seconds, we're going
launch
up.
vehicle maneuvering to the proper attitude. Everything looking good at this point.
17 is go.
Roger, 17, your go.
First stage looks good. Altitude 1.1 miles. Booster says you look good. We're now at 2.5 miles.
Mark, mode 1 Bravo.
Roger, 1 Bravo, we're go at 1 minute.
Roger, Gene, you're looking great. Right on the line.
Everybody says looking great. Right on the line. We're now 1 mile downrange. Launch vehicle 4.2 miles high. Coming up on maximum dynamic pressure at this point. 4 miles downrange, 8 miles high, and the velocity
130 and we are go,
approaching
Bob.
3,000 feet per
Roger, Gene,
second.
you're looking great. Stand by for mode 1 Charlie, 17. Mark, mode 1 Charlie.
And the flight dynamics officer says we look good on all sources, right on the trajectory.
Roger, 17, your go.
Flight Director Gene Kranz taking a status for staging. We say
You are
we
go
look
for
good for
staging.
staging.
Roger, we'll go here. Inboard cutoff.
Roger, inboard.
Inboard engine shutting down on time as planned. Crew will experience maximum G-forces of about 4 Gs at shutdown. Coming up on first stage shutdown. And we've had shutdown on time on the first
Bob, I
stage.
guess we got all 5.
Roger, they're looking here, looking good.
Sure felt like it. I think we saw them all from here.
Roger, Jack, and the thrust is going, all 5 of them. They're running good.
Okay, 3 minutes in, we're go.
Roger, 17.
Okay, we do have skirt set.
Roger, we confirm skirt set.
There goes the tower. Ah, there she goes.
Roger the tower, you're mode 2.
Roger, mode 2.
The steering has converged and CMC is go. You're going right down the pike, 17.
Okay, Bob, I do confirm guidance.
That's the automatic guidance system, the inertial
Okay,
guidance
Bob,
system
I got
performing
the
properly.
circuit breakers, and we've seen it all. Ignition, staging, and tower.
Roger, got you.
Apollo 17 now 65 miles high.
Okay, 4 minutes, and we're go here, Bob.
Roger, Gene, we're going around the room. Look, go here. You're looking real good, Gene. Right down the line.
Okay, 4:30, and we're still go on board.
Roger, 17, you're go.
Let me tell you, this night launch is something to behold.
Coming up on 5 minutes, everything still looks very good in the launch of Apollo 17. The launch vehicle, spacecraft, now 80 miles high, 230 miles downrange.
Five minutes, Gino, and you're go down here. You're looking great.
Okay, Robert, we're go here at 5.
Houston, your times are nominal. Level sense arm at 8 plus 36. S2 shutdown at 9 plus 20. Nominal times.
8 plus 36 and 9 plus 20. Roger.
CapCom Robert Overmyer advising Gene Cernan and the crew aboard Apollo 17. The second stage shut down at about 9 minutes 20 seconds elapsed time. That shut down about 3.5 minutes from now.
Stand by for S4B to COI capability. Mark, S4B to COI capability.
Roger, S4B to COI, we're go at 6.
Roger, Gino.
Apollo 17 still right on the nominal trajectory at an altitude now of about 92 nautical
okay,
miles.
Bob, we got 4 good motors and we're going 620.
Roger, and 17, we copied the gimbals and we watched them. They're looking good. Stand by for S4B to orbit capability. Mark, S4B to orbit capability. And we'd like Omni Delta, Jack.
Roger, you've got it.
Roger.
Now 7 minutes in, and we have sufficient velocity to make orbit with the Saturn third stage should we have an unexpected early shutdown of the second
Bob,
stage.
we're looking good on board.
Roger.
We're now less than 2 minutes from second stage shutdown and ignition of the Saturn third stage. And the center engine will be shutting down as scheduled in about 10 seconds.
We have inboard cutoff.
Roger, Gene, inboard on time.
And that inboard shutdown looked to be on time. Apollo 17 now 625 miles downrange, 93 miles in altitude.
8 minutes and we are go.
Roger, 17, you're looking great.
The spacecraft guidance system's agreeing very closely with the Saturn guidance. It looks good.
Houston, you're a go for staging.
Thank you, Bob. We are go for staging up here.
Staging now less than 1 minute.
You have level sense arm this time, Gene.
Roger, Bob. Level sense on.
Apollo 17 traveling at 21,000 feet per second. It's achieved about 83% of the velocity required for a minimum orbit.
Time at Bob and 17 is go.
Roger, 17, you're go here.
And about 10 seconds to staging.
Stand by for mode 4 capability.
S2 cutoff.
Mark, mode 4 capability, and we copy cutoff.
Roger, mode 4. And we do have S4B ignition.
Roger, we see it, and the thrust is looking good on it.
We saw that one too, Bob.
Roger.
We're up to 23,000 feet per second. We'll be shooting for something over 25,000.
17, the steering has converged and the CMC is go. You're looking great.
Roger, the CMC is go, 10 minutes, and 17 is go on board.
17, Houston, you are go for orbit. Go for orbit.
Those are kind words, Robert. We're go for orbit here.
Good show, Gene.
Coming up on 10 minutes, 30 seconds after liftoff. And the spacecraft launch vehicle now 1,100 miles rather downrange. Altitude 93.4 miles.
Roger, 17, looking great.
And we're about 1 minute from shutdown, about 1 minute from orbit insertion.
And we are go.
Roger, Gene, and cutoff will be at 11 plus 47. 11 plus 47.
11 plus 47, Roger. Okay, 11:30, and we're go here and stand by.
Roger, Gene. Cutoff time is still holding good. 11 plus 47.
Okay, cut off at 4-2.
Understand. Cutoff at 4-2. Roger, we copy.
And that looked like a near nominal shutdown. At shutdown, we show 25,600 feet per second. That also looks very close.
By 89.5.
Roger, Gene. We're copying the disk key.
Okay, Jeff.
Jane Cernan reporting the onboard indication of an orbit of 93.5 by 89.5. We'll be getting tracking and confirming that here on the ground.
And Houston, looks like the tank pressures are venting.
Roger, Gene. The range safety is safe, and you are in a go orbit nominal.
Roger, go orbit nominal. Thank you.
And 17, I'll be unable to update that AOS time, but 52:20 is looking good.
Roger.
This is Apollo Control coming up on 14 minutes after liftoff. That liftoff coming about 2 hours, 40 minutes late. And we'll be assessing the effects of that late liftoff on subsequent events in the mission timeline, passing those along. One of the effects will be a change in the acquisition of signal, loss of signal time,
Houston,
as we move along on the ground track.
AC off.
Stand by on that, Jack.
I've been carrying very low amps on the bat bus, and I did not see a drop. I'm carrying about 2 amps now. Volts are 30.5.
Jack, go ahead and take the BC motor switch off.
Okay, it's off, and I confirm that one.
And we think it's the EDS power switch and the fuel cell latch switch that are drawing the current that you're seeing there.
Okay, that could well be.
Okay, Jack, we're going to lose you in about 1 minute off of Vanguard here and see you at 5220.
Roger, we're pressing. Thanks, Bob. Okay, Bob, everything is looking go on board. Everything's stable. We can see the ups firing, and our attitudes look good.
Dano, everything's in good shape down here. The booster's in good shape. You're looking good, and our AOS time is 5220 as I gave you.
We got that, babe. We'll see you coming around.
Good show, babe. A little late, but a good show.
Outstanding ride.